you guys? Welcome back to the channel, back with another video. We just ended the last video, which was installing the brand new CRT SC project exhaust on, it's not the exhaust that's new, the bike is new. It's a brand new 2025 S1000RR. Never seen one with the full titanium headers and the full SC. Shout out to Motivation, go get your exhaust from there. But today is going to be the first ride. I haven't ridden an S1K in a very long time. Last BMW I rode was my M1000 single R. And the last S1K was probably my old S1K that I also had kind of for like my rental business company, if you guys remember. At some point I had a rental business company. I had a few bikes that I bought specifically for that. So that was the last S1K I rode, I think. So, you know, way older. This is like 2 generations ahead. The newest, and in my opinion, this is one of the best looking S1Ks. For the first time, I think the S1K looks better than the M1K actually of that year. So props to BMW, they killed it with this design, and I really like this color. It's very unique and different. He also ordered a bunch of carbon from Corsa Carbon. Also go get your carbon from Corsa Carbon. All my bikes are going to be dressed up with Corsa Carbon very soon, where I did the H2R, the H2, and the Xrenta, and there's a lot more coming for even my M1000, more bikes that even have a ton of carbon, but we're adding even more. Might even do the Superleggera wings in carbon fiber on my V4R. So we'll see. A lot of big projects hopefully in the work. But for today's video, we're trading bikes. He's gonna ride my Stage 3 2022 M1000RR, the first gen M1000RR. If you guys don't know, the M1000s have a different engine from the S1000s. That's the main feature pretty much. No electronic suspension, you know, it's like more track focused, but the main thing, those bikes have that K67 engine and the M1000 K66, which has titanium internals, revs faster, higher redline, stuff like that. But yeah, I personally majorly feel the difference. So I want to see if he's gonna, you know, notice the difference too. But also, like I said, this is the newest gen S1K, which usually the newer the gens are, they take a little bit more from the M1000. That's usually how it happens. Same thing with Ducati. You know, they start taking stuff from the V4R and they put it on their more like base models. So I want to see how that looks, or how that feels and rides in comparison to this, especially because we're on pretty much the same tires and similar setups. So this is going to be very interesting. Same exhaust, both of us BT Moto tune. Is yours Stage 1 or Stage 2? 1. You don't have the relocated IT sensor, right? Okay, so at least it's unrestricted, and that's mainly what you need. Mine has the Stage 2, which is the relocated IT sensor and all that, and also Stage 3 with the velocity stacks and the breather and all that extra stuff. So I also have an E85 map on it, which I kind of want to do again at some point because the E85 makes it such a crazy animal, but I don't ride it enough to keep it on the 885, but we'll do it maybe one day for fun again because you guys did like that video. But yeah, let's stop yapping, let's start riding. He's GP too, so yeah, I asked him right away because we could replace that. Let's go GP gang. But yeah, enjoy. I'm excited to see what you think. But yeah, we're gonna admire the bikes a little bit, you know, get to hear them, talk a little bit about them, and we'll do a little mob, you know, later on, just to kind of properly feel the bikes. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I'll let you do the first start. Woo! Spicy. Yeah, you definitely can hear the difference. This is a little sharper. This is more like deep, which is, you know, it shows you that, you know, the engine is different. The red line definitely looks different. This one looks like it's a, I want to say 14.5. They actually look very similar red line. I think this is at 15, this is at 14.5, something like that. Yeah, but the red line looks similar. Maybe it raised it, yeah. Maybe it got raised or something like that, but anyways, they look very similar. I definitely can hear that being a little bit louder though. And we got Zach on the ZX10 as well, joining us on this beautiful ride. Well, first things, he has this like custom short seat, and it's definitely like a lower seat, and I feel like I'm sitting like in the bike. This definitely makes it way more comfortable, so that's definitely interesting. So the main thing that I noticed with the newer S1Ks is that they do have those like added crazy winglets that they kind of took from the newer gen M1000RR, like the 22s and all, and then the brand new M1000, which has even crazier wings. So I'm excited to see if that plays a role, because when I rode the 23 M1000s, the one after my year, That bike, definitely the main difference I felt is just the aerodynamics, and that's all it is. It has the same engine, same everything as mine, just different fairings and all that. And yeah, the aerodynamics felt different. It's kind of like I described it as like a pista, where it kind of just like cuts through the wind even at higher speeds. So usually most bikes at high speeds, you start to feel that they're getting heavier when you want to throw them around. And the M1000RRs with the new kind of bubbly fairings, it made it a lot smoother to just like toss the bike around. Oh, this turns really, really well actually. It does have electronic suspension, so that could be a deciding factor, but I liked how, you know, even from the simplest things, it just like dips into that like right turn, just like right here. Yeah, that feels really nice. It just feels stable and good. Woo! So the spicy pops, the brand new exhaust, the clutch definitely feels different. The BMW pops I was talking about in the last video when I was riding mine, he was riding this. Hell yeah. And we unplanned, we're rocking the same gloves, so that's cool too. Yeah, the clutch release on his is like very, very far. I would say that is like a small difference. The shifting feels about the same. This bike is, yeah, low-key, the pops are like snappier on this, which is interesting because my exhaust note sounds snappier on the M1000, but the pops sound snappier on this. Very, very interesting. Oh wow, I feel like, yeah, I definitely noticed a difference of improvements. This feels a lot more alive than the older gen S1000RRs. It just feels a lot more pickup, that's for sure. I don't know if that's a tune thing or there's more to it, but it definitely feels like more responsive and a little more alive. The older gens felt a little more numb, especially because I was just riding my M1000, so I feel like I would notice any little differences like that because it's so back to back. But this feels really good. I wonder how many miles he has on it. Wait, what? He already has more miles on it than I do on my M1000, and this is a 25 prop. He just got it. But that's kind of what happens when you have one bike and you ride it a lot. And I wouldn't blame him, you know what I mean? This thing with the setup. Oh, okay, so that's another thing why this bike feels a little lighter and it dips in easier. His tire pressure is much higher than mine. Yeah, he has 4,000. He has like 1,000 miles more than my M1K, so that's crazy. But yeah, his tire pressure is way higher. Let's see. Now I feel like I don't feel the difference that I felt with the M1K when I was like tossing this thing around at like higher speeds. The M1K definitely felt a lot more nimble, like there's no resistance. So that's good to know that, you know, the M1K still has a slight advantage on the S1Ks between the engine and the better aero. Let's see how this thing takes corners. It's a long, nice sweeper. Very nice, very nice. Dude, the pops are insane on this thing. They definitely, it pops more and it sounds more snappy too. And I feel like I've noticed that when you put a new exhaust on it, maybe because like less heat cycles and all, but it definitely usually sounds a little more snappy when it's new. Different, huh? Yeah, how low this sits is actually kind of crazy. It's nice also that the S1K, since they're more like streetable, like not the track version, they have the, what is it, your tire pressure, where it was here I saw it, see 33 and 38. That's like quite a gap in between the two. I usually run them like 30 32 or 32 32, 32 34, very close, sometimes like 32 32, but I keep them somewhat similar or like a small difference. But yeah, 38 is pretty steep. Intake temp. Whoa. Yeah, that clutch release is very, very late on this. So that tripped me out. Thank you for giving us room.
Wobbly. A lot more shaky than my M1K, that's for sure. But very, very responsive. I think it's a suspension thing because my suspension has gone adjusted at the top. It's definitely a suspension thing. But this thing is alive. It is not like the oldest 1000RR, like they're numb. These new S1Ks are actually really, really nice. I can be in 5th gear and fast, and she'll just go. The old stuff could not do that. It felt like kind of sluggish. It needed those titanium internals that the M1K has for her to be more alive, feel better. I wonder if the gearing is also different on these. That was fun. This bike moves. The only critique I have is suspension. I know it's electronic, so you can actually adjust this and mess with it yourself. But besides that, this bike is honestly huge, huge improvement. I need to ride the newer gen M1000RRs so I can properly give her a better, I'd say what, like a rating? Yeah, but it's not truly just a rating. I just like to see how different they are, because this feels really good, and at this point I'm like, I don't know if there's a point of getting an M1000RR, because this is really, really good now, and it feels pretty solid. I'm not, like, my main complaint about the old ones is that they looked a little boring, and also at the same time they felt a little more numb. This feels a lot more alive. That I can say for sure. And of course, that shout out to, you know, having a full exhaust system, for tuning, giving it a tune. But I've ridden S1Ks tuned and all that before. They definitely weren't as much fun as this. So S1Ks are ranking higher. These newer gens are definitely better somehow, some way. But yeah, like, the main thing is just the suspension. It's very loose. I felt a lot of wobble. Mine is dialed up really, really nice to my weight and liking and preference, because I took her to the track, and the guy, Steve Weir, the guy that engineered these bikes, he adjusted my suspension, my liking, based on my feedback from going back and back and doing more laps. So it can't get any better than that. The guy that literally knows these bikes bolt to bolt is the guy that's adjusted my suspension. Like, even going through these bumps, this bike kind of shakes and dances. Mine is a lot more sturdy. That being said, I'm pretty sure this aero does make a difference. And I'm saying a difference, like, obviously it makes a difference, that's why they're doing it, but it makes a difference where you can actually notice, because I feel like at speed, in those like kind of long sweepers, I felt the front being a little more stable than usually mine. So that was definitely nice to kind of experience. But yeah, it definitely gets me excited for the new stuff. I want to ride the new like 2025 M1K, because that's the only BMW that I haven't ridden yet. I have my M1K, I've ridden the 23s, and I've ridden the 23 M1Ks, and which, you know, felt the 23 M1Ks are just like mine, just with a different body, which you still feel the difference in the air and all of that. I really like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the market, back then I used to say the S1K is one of the best all-around bikes, and I still... Okay, I heard that coming. I was like, whoa. And they just got a whole lot better. My biggest critique about them, improved a lot. These pops never get old on the BMWs. Good job, BMW. You guys did great with this thing. I'm excited to see his thoughts about my M1K. That was a fun little rip. Yeah, that clutch release trips me out. It's way too far out. It just needs to be adjusted. These pops, absolutely nuts. Also, it could actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that little shake and bake that I felt, if it wasn't suspension, it could be just a really high tire pressure. So, you know, that's really hard to be taking turns and doing all that stuff. So that could affect it too. Probably a combination of all that stuff. But yeah, like I said, these are all stuff that are adjustable, especially because you have electronic suspension. You can just change it in the settings. So honestly, not really too many negatives. This bike is a lot more fun than it used to be. Yeah, it doesn't have as much character as, like, for example, an Aprilia or a Ducati, but you can't ask for anything more if you want a one and only bike. It's fun, it's fast, it sounds good, it's not obnoxious, but it's loud enough. It has the best tech on the market. Listen, BMW does not sponsor me, so I'm not saying this, you know, I'm just genuinely giving you guys, like, the reviews about them. And it's really hard to compete with BMW. That's why you see them everywhere, because especially for how much they cost, it's such a good deal. It is an insane deal. Alrighty.
Bro, that bike is so different. Oh my god.
Alright, what are the first things you picked up on it that are good, and what are the first things you picked up on it that are bad?
Throttle response is insane. Shifting is like so quick, and it just like picks up so fast. Like it's just like on it all the time. The thing I didn't like compared to mine is like the brakes are like super tight. Actually, I do kind of like that more than this. I feel like I have to squeeze it.
Once you get used to that, this is like the best master cylinder you can buy.
Yeah, bro.
So once you get used to that, it's so hard to go back to this.
Yeah.
But the sad part is that, like, that's a pretty expensive piece. And to change it on all my bikes, it kind of ruins you. But because I've experienced it, so I have it on this one, my X-Trenta, and my HP4 Race, the really race bikes, because this is like race shit.
No, it felt
and
amazing.
it's
the first
insane.
time I hit it, I was like, oh fuck this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is so nice.
Yeah, because all you have to do is like barely just like pull on it.
Yeah. I don't think I didn't like anything about it.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
This got improved so much more. My complaint with the S1Ks back then is that they were a little numb. They didn't have enough character. This picks up so much better than the older ones.
Well, and this is the dampening set super high right now, so it feels really tight. If I click it down like 2 or 3 more, it like throws itself into turns.
Okay, I was gonna say it feels a little loose, like it's a little shaky.
Okay.
And it's that, and then I also looked at your tire pressure. Yours is pretty high. You're at 38.
Okay.
So those are the only 2 differences. That was like the only picks up way better. Sounds great. Like my main negative about BMWs at the time was just that it was kind of numb, doesn't have enough pickup. They definitely fix it with this. I tried in 5th gear and I just get on it and it picks up. Yeah. So it's still like, it's, you know, almost M1K level now. Yeah. You know, it feels really good, especially because this is stage 1. Keep in mind that's stage 3. Yeah. So if they're on the same stage, they might be, you know, almost the same.
Yeah. No, so, you feel the difference in this for sure, power wise.
Yeah.
Even the shifting, it's like.
Yeah, this one is a little heavier,
yeah,
a little more sluggish. Yeah, that just is, you know, race bike, and you feel that. You know, it's just more like responsive and snappy. But the aero, I'm pretty sure I felt that. Like that last sweeper I took, it was, I think I was doing like 160 in that turn, and this thing felt so planted, even with the like kind of suspension. This suspension got adjusted and tuned by the guy that engineered these bikes at the track. So I went on and I gave him feedback, and he would tweak it till it's perfect. So this is probably one of my favorite bikes, suspension and setup wise. That's why but that's also set up for me and my liking and my weight. But I've had only, I think, one other person ride it, and they were like, holy shit, this thing handles like insane, because it's the suspension is just dialed on it. That's why my only negative about this is the suspension, but that's a thing that can be adjusted.
Yeah, they said from factory they put a super stiff spring, and it's like rated for like 190, 200 pound person. So for me, it just like, it feels way too aggressive. Like I feel like throwing it into a turn, I'm like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah. I didn't mind it, and I also noticed a lot when I was like, I gave it a pull, and I saw you do that too. It gets shaky. So you know what I mean. And this has this has a manual stabilizer, so you can actually adjust that. You can tighten it up and it'll like stiffen it up a little bit. So if you want, a couple of clicks, and but other than that, if all amazing, definitely huge upgrade from the newer ones, aesthetically and with the way it rides and everything. And the only critique I have, you can easily adjust and, you know, tweak to your liking. But good job, BMW. Props. Sounds amazing. Shout out to SC Projects again. And motivation, go get you guys' exhaust. But thank you for letting me ride her.
Thank you.
That was a lot of fun, and also was nice watching that thing. Just, you know, seeing your bike on the road like hits different sometimes. Like,
wow.
You're like, damn, this is how I look. Yeah. So that was fun. All right, you guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Ton more carbon is going to come for this bike very, very soon. So actually you guys will be seeing her again. And yeah, I'll probably order some more on my M1K. There's a lot of projects happening, so we're gonna get some food. It's hot. We did a couple videos, installed. I'm not even gonna say we installed this because that is like literally too bold. So I'm not even gonna, you know, so I'm gonna get roasted regardless. But you know what I mean, it's hot. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, ride safe.